Hello, Monty Segopian here from ZeldaDungeon.net, and here we have the video walkthrough for Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. The game actually starts off with a storyline if you let it play out the title screen, but much like most games on the NES, much of the story can be found in the instruction booklet, and once you actually start the quest there really is no story involved at all. A very quick synopsis of the story is that the King of Hyrule died, and he passed his throne on to the Prince of Hyrule. However, the power of the Triforce, which is like the controlling power of the land, was not passed on to the prince, rather that was passed on to Princess Zelda. The prince wanted this information and Princess Zelda wouldn't give it up, so the prince cast basically an eternal spell on Princess Zelda, which kept her sleeping. And this would eventually be go. It goes on, but this is basically what the actual Legend of Zelda actually is. Anyway, check out the instruction booklet, or check out ZeldaDungeon.net. We have scans of the instruction booklet to get the full storyline of it. There's also a side story though, where Ganon, who died in the original Legend of Zelda, is now trying to be revived by his minions, who still are around the land. But in order to do so, they must kill Link and sprinkle his blood on the ashes of Ganon, and this will revive them. So basically there's the two stories. Link is trying to awaken Princess Zelda, while Ganon's minions are trying to kill Link. Zelda 2, while it was only the second Zelda game ever to be released, is drastically different when looked back in retrospective to most of the Zelda games, because for one, it's a side-scrolling RPG that uses a level-up system rather than the classic battle scheme. And a lot of people dislike this system. One thing is that it's really hard. It's one of the hardest Zelda games, if not the hardest Zelda game, and this is a turnoff to a lot of Zelda fans. You gotta keep in mind though, back in the NES era, a lot of games were really hard, and I think this game was not really that much harder than what most games we were accustomed to. So, as you can see at the beginning of the game, I was just going through leveling up because I wanted to get some experience points. But now here I am at the first town, and this is the town of Rauru. And for those of you that have played the Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64, you'll know that there's the various sages, and they actually got their names from the Adventure of Link. Rauru, Saria, Darunia, etc. While if you're more of a timeline theorist, you'll probably say that Ocarina of Time came first, and the towns in Adventure of Link are named after the sages. Either way, this came in chronological order of game release, while that came in more timeline order. Anyway, in Rauru, there is a few things we want to do. First of all, you can talk to the townsmen, and they'll always give you advice, like only the hammer can destroy a roadblock. Granted, we're not going to use it for a long time, but there's some advice. And unlike the original Legend of Zelda, the townsmen are actually helpful in this game. And here we have a woman that says, "Talk with my father before you leave town." And every single town, basically, has a wise man. And in some, it's simple, you just walk into the town and you go and talk to him. But in others, you actually have to do things in order to reach the wise man. But these wise men will teach you various spells that you will learn. And this game actually, there's three things at the top. You see at the top left, you see sword, then magic, then life. So this game uses a lot of magic. And here we have our first magic spell, which is the shield. And as you might expect, the shield does exactly what you would think it does. It shields you, it increases your armor. But it's only temporary. It's only one screen. Once you use it, once you walk off the screen, you will lose your shield. But it's very useful, especially when it comes to like boss battles and such. So that's pretty much the only thing we need to do right now in Rauru. So leave the village, and now we want to make our way northeast, and we are going to be, as we head our way to Parappa Palace. And you can get caught in some of these little cutscenes where you can battle some of these enemies. Here we have the spear moblins that's throwing, well, spears at me, and they're very useful since they actually give you 10 experience points, which will add up. Once you enter the cave, you'll notice that it's really dark. You can't see any enemies. There's only one enemy right on the ground. You can see it walking, and I just killed it. But we're eventually going to get the candle within Parappa Palace, and that'll allow us to see in the dark, pretty much. Now here we are in more of a sand area. We want to head south down this little region here, and this will trigger a little cutscene here. And this is one of the most annoying parts of the game. And I think the most frequent way to die in this game, at least for me, one of them, is simply falling in holes. And there's those little bubbles that were flowing. If they hit you, they'll kill you. I mean, they're not going to kill you. They'll take damage, but they'll knock you back. And if you fall in a hole, you're dead. Anyway, here's another side quest, side scene. There's some more difficult enemies, but we want to walk to this block right here in the middle. And here we'll get the first heart container. I advise you to first kill the orange Gloria, because if you take damage, you can just get the heart container afterwards, and that will fill your hearts. And as you can see along the top, we are now up to 5 full heart containers. There's actually, you can get up to 8 heart containers, as well as 8 magic containers, and this walkthrough will be covering all of those throughout the game. So now we want to head back north, and unfortunately we have to go through this side scene sequence again, which is rather annoying. And now we are going to make our way up north to the first palace, which is Parappa Palace. And that will pretty much conclude this section. Join me for the next part of Chapter 1, where we will tackle Parappa Palace.